Hello, everyone, and welcome to another chapter of the Great Wizarding Christmas Bake Off. This is one of three, I believe, for the Christmas season involving Harry Potter. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it. Chapter 2 Technical. The judges, hosts, and bakers are all in the tent. Tonks and Fleur are wearing little elf hats. It's time for the dreaded technical, this time with added Christmas cheer. Today's technical was set by Minerva. Minerva, any words of wisdom? Be very careful not to burn anything. Words of wisdom? All right, Minerva. Ois, as always, you will not be present while the bakers work on their technical challenge, so that you can judge impartially. So, on your way. Minerva and Horace leave. Bakers, Minerva would like you to make 16 identical, perfectly iced, stained-glassed biscuit. On your mark, get set, bake! Cut to Remus, who is scratching his head as he looks at the recipe. Stained-glass biscuits? I suppose that means melted sweets in the middle. Merlin, I hate that fiddly stuff. I always drop something important on the ground. I've done this. I was helping my friend's mum make biscuits last year, and we did the whole thing, melting the boiled sweets and letting it harden. It's tricky, but I've done it. Ah, yes, we see through a glass, but darkly. Cut to Minerva and Horace, sitting in front of the fire with a plate of star-shaped biscuits with transparent green centers. They're very nicely done. They look simple, but it's really quite tricky to get them all identical. The ginger biscuit must have a nice snap and no burnt edges. And if you aren't careful with the centers, they'll be too soft or they'll crack right through. Horace holds up one and places his eye against it. Everything's Christmas-colored. Cut to the tent. The bakers are rolling out their dough. It's got to be totally even. He measures with a ruler. I'll eyeball it. I've got a good eye. Sirius winks at the camera. Oh God, I've got to do it again. This dough is way too sticky. Shots of the bakers slicing their dough and sliding sheets into the oven. Once they're out, they'll have to cool a bit before we can do the stained glass part. Remus taps his fingers on the counter and reads the directions again. Sirius watches him for a moment, distracted. Shots of the bakers melting sweets on the stove. Oh, mine's burning! It's burning! Someone call the firefighters. We have a serious situation. Is the tent on fire? Again? I barely escaped with my life last time. I knew it was a dangerous idea, going back in the tent with him. He's just too hot to handle. Remus snorts. Sirius turns faintly pink. All right, bakers, your time is up. The bakers place their cookies on the table. Minerva and Horace enter the tent. As always, the judges will not know whose bake is whose. We'll start with this one. They approach the bake with Sirius's photo in front of it. Sirius is wearing a fake Santa beard in the photo.
Something has happened, yeah?
Perhaps the stained glass is simply invisible. She holds up a biscuit. It is a beautifully crisp golden brown, but there is nothing in the center.
Good crunch, though.
Harry looks sympathetically at Sirius. Remus looks amused. Minerva and Horace approach the next bake, which has a photo of Remus wrapped in a red scarf and mittens in front of it. These look all right.
Could have a bit more of a snap. Slightly underbaked, I think.
Yes, but the flavor is spot on. They move on to the next bake, which has a photo of Harry grinning in front of it.
Now, these are a little bit messy, not quite all identical, but they do look nice and crisp.
Yes, that's the snap we want to hear.
And the stained glass, quite lovely. This one's a bit lumpy, but all the others are good.
Harry tries to mask a pleased expression. Minerva and Horace move on to the last cookies, which have a picture of Sybil wrapped in a large snowflake-patterned shawl in front of them.
Now, these are very nice indeed.
Nearly identical. Quite attractive. Ah, yes, a good snap.
Delicious flavor. I serve those at my Christmas parties, and that's saying something, considering that Hubert Monk, the chief from the Gamps Law,
always attends. Very good indeed. Sirius, Remus, and Harry all look over at Sybil, trying to hide their shock. She simply picks at a strand of cat hair on her robe and smiles beatifically. A tricky one for the judges. Minerva, Horace, have you made your decisions?
We have.
In last place, this one. She points to Sirius's biscuits. No stained glass. An arsonist got to them. Such a shock. I've let the Auras know, and they're on the case.
In third place, and this was a tough call, this one.
He points to Remus's cookies.
Beautiful, but just a bit underbaked.
In second place, these. She points to Harry's. I know. They've got to be neater. Minerva smiles.
So that means that first place goes to...
He points to Sybil's biscuits.
Sybil, well done. Thank you. It's a matter of seeing clearly, you know, through a glass, but a very transparent one. Yes.
Sirius is trying not to laugh. Remus kicks him discreetly. A jolly end to a Christmas technical. Cut to Harry outside. I'm pleased, I think. Second is good. Of course, I really do need to work on being neater if I want Minerva's approval. That seems to be Remus's specialty. I'll have to watch out for him. Well, that was a disaster, wasn't it? I'd better get it together for the showstopper tomorrow. Underbaked. Yeah, they didn't go too well. A bit embarrassing, honestly. But at least I didn't almost burn down the tent. Again.
I make stained glass cookies every year. They go very well with tea.
End of Challenge 2. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this little Christmas excursion in the Harry Potter universe. As always, if you are enjoying this kind of content, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. And for those of you interested, for the 25 days of Christmas, that is December 25th through January 5th, I have my own writings in this particular fandom up on my Patreon at the $2 tier. So if you are interested in that, please be sure to head over there and check it out. It will only be up for the dates that I mentioned. And stick around on my Patreon. There is plenty of other stuff to keep you entertained over there as well. But if Patreon is not your thing and you would like to support me monetarily, I have a Ko-fi. Both can be found in my About section here on YouTube. Again, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you all in the next one. Good night.